Hi, I'm Cindy from cindyleekennedy.com and Fuss-free Gluten-free.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make kombucha. So you've probably heard of it before. It's a fermented tea and it's really good because it's full of probiotics and it's made from the natural yeasts and bacteria that live in the atmosphere. So really good for helping to rebalance your gut flora, get rid of the bad guys and get more of the good guys in, and really easy to make. So I know a lot of people are going out and buying it, but I've seen how much it costs, and honestly once you see how easy it is to make and how cheap it is to make, you'll be making it yourself in no time. So let's get started. That's what it looks like when we're done, so I'll pop that over there. Alright, so to begin with, I like to use a nice big jug. This one's a 5 litre jug. It just gives me room for mixing and stirring. So we start with 8 tea bags. Now when you get your SCOBie to start with, ask the person what sort of tea they're using. So mine likes green tea, so if I was to start using black tea it would be too much of a shock to the system and it would probably kill it off. So really important that you keep going with the same sort of tea and sugar that it's used to, and if you do want to change it over time you need to do it gradually. So 8 tea bags, so I'll drop them in there. And then we need 2 litres of boiling water. Ooh, I've just poured this kettle, as you can see with the steam. Pour that in. Oh, exactly 2 litres, how good is that? Okay, so I like to give it a quick stir just to make sure all the tea bags are wet. And then we add 1.5 cups of sugar. So, like I said, mine's used to white sugar, so that's what I stick with. Now I know that sounds pretty crazy, 1.5 cups of sugar in something that's meant to be healthy and good for your gut. But that's okay because that's what the bacteria and yeast are going to feed off, and by the time this is ready, there won't actually be any sugar left. So when you test it, if it's still a little bit sweet, you know that it's not quite finished. So I just give that a quick little stir like that to make sure that all the sugar's dissolved, which won't take long because it's boiling water. Looks pretty good. Alright. And then I just pop a tea towel over the top, and we need to set that aside now and let it come to room temperature, because if you use it while it's hot like this, it'll kill off the SCOBie. So we'll set this aside. Alright. And just like on all the TV shows, here's some I prepared earlier. So let's get started in making the actual kombucha. So I like to use a big glass jar. You can't use metal because if the SCOBie sits with metal for a while it'll kill the SCOBie off. So I like to use glass. I'm not really a fan of plastic just because I worry that the acidic nature of the kombucha could leach chemicals out of the plastic. So I just use one of these big glass drink dispensers. It's a great use for ones if the tap's broken or if you've lost the lid, because you don't need any of those. So to start with, you need a SCOBie. So this is what the SCOBie looks like. Some people call them a mushroom because you can see it kind of looks like a giant mushroom, or a pancake. Kind of cool little creatures really. So it's called a SCOBie, which is SCOBY, and that stands for a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. So you do need one of these to get it started. So if you don't know anyone who has one, hop on the internet and you're bound to find someone in your local area. If you're in Australia, you can email me and I'll send one out to you. So we pop our SCOBie into our nice clean jar. So just like any kind of home brewing, you want to make sure that everything is really nice and clean. So we pop that in there like that, and we'll just add the liquid. Alright, and then you also need about 1 cup or 2 of starter liquid. So I've just kept this from the previous batch, and we pour it in like that. So far we've got the SCOBie and we've got the starter liquid. So you could actually go to your health food shop if they sell kombucha and get an unflavoured one and have a look in the bottle, and if there's kind of little floaties in there, that's the start of a new SCOBie. So just tip the whole bottle in and use that as your starter and a SCOBie will form. And the really cool thing is they actually grow to the shape of the container. So if this was like a square jar, I'd have a square SCOBie, so kind of cool. And as they grow, layers all kind of lift off and they have babies, and that's how you can share them. Alright, anyway, enough of that. So next, here we've got the cooled to room temperature tea that I made earlier. So we pop that in. So that's what we made with the 8 tea bags, the 1.5 cups of sugar and the 2 litres of boiling water. Dip that in. And then we top it up with 2 litres of just room temperature water. Now I use filtered water. We live out in the country and we're on tank water, so there's no chlorine or fluoride in this water. This is just pure rainwater that I filtered. If you're in the city and your water is chlorinated and fluoridated, I would definitely be filtering it to try and get rid of those, or use bought water, because the chlorine is not going to make for a happy SCOBie. Anyway, that's it. I mean, really, how easy is that? So now, we just cover it. You don't want to put a lid on because it needs to breathe, because the SCOBie is a living organism. So we just pop a cloth over the top like that, just to stop flies and dust and that sort of thing going in. And this is just a nice thin sort of cloth like that lets the air through but nothing else. You could even use like nut milk bags, that sort of thing. And then I just put a band over the top. I'm not too clumsy to hold it in place, and that's it. So we let that sit for, depends on the time of year. When the weather's warmer, this is going to brew a lot quicker, but when it's cooler, like we're in winter now, takes a bit longer. So in summer, anywhere from a week onwards. This time of year out here, usually I let it sit for a good 2 to 3, often maybe even a little bit longer than 3 weeks, until it's ready. So you'll know when it's ready just by tasting it. If it's still a bit sweet, it needs to sit for longer. Once it starts to get that kind of vinegary, tart flavour, that's when you're good to go. So just decant it off, pour it into some bottles. Make sure that it's a nice strong glass though, and then keep your SCOBie and keep about a cup or 2 of the liquid to start your next batch. And that's it. So go and make yourself some kombucha, have fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye!